Hello, I'm Scott Thompson, and welcome to After 10. It's been 2 years now since the death of former North Korean leader Kim Jong-il, and 2 years since Kim Jong-un took his father's place. What have we learned about the younger Kim and his leadership style over that period of time? On today's After 10, we tackle that question and all the others that it raises. North Korea has gone through 3 generations of hereditary succession, which is something that has never been seen before. On December 17th, a memorial ceremony was held to commemorate the 2nd anniversary of the death of former North Korean leader Kim Jong-il. Kim Jong-un, who inherited power after his death, appeared more confident at the commemoration. Subtle changes in Kim Jong-un's attitude demonstrate the increased status of the young leader. With the surprise execution of North Korea's second-in-command, Jang Song-taek, Kim Jong-un has seemingly solidified his grip on power. On today's After 10, we are joined by Dr. Lee Seung-yeol from Ewha Institute of Unification Studies for more on the recent changes that have taken place within the North's power structure. Dr. Lee, thank you very much for being on the program.
Thank you for inviting me.
Now, we certainly have a lot to talk about. Let's start with the commemoration this week to commemorate the second anniversary of Kim Jong-il's death. What message do you think Kim Jong-un was trying to send through the ceremony, and what did you take away from what you saw?
I think especially we need to focus on the reappearance of the Kim Jong-un, because since of execution of his uncles, Jang Song-taek, as he want to show the soulmates in North Korea is to have a legitimacy from this Mangyongdae and Baekdu bloodlines. I think this position is very important for Kim Jong-un as to the futures. And so most of the activities focus on the only as Kim Jong-un's. This is the ceremony of this. Some kind of ceremonies.
And anytime there's a big event like this, people are looking for signs to see what sorts of changes may be taking place behind the scenes. How was this year's ceremony different from the one we saw last year?
Yes. The Cheryong-hae is the follicular virus, the director of the follicular virus, is sit in the beside of the Kim Jong-un's after him says as the military powers seized and his left wings. So it's very important that the weight of the power in North Korea's moving to the militaries is very important to change.
Another change that people took note of was that Kim Jong-un's body language seemed to be a bit more different. He seemed to be a bit more stone-faced throughout the ceremony. Is there anything we can read into that, the way he presented himself?
Yes, at the first memorial ceremonies, Kim Jong-un is very nervous. As we understood this, it is first time to stand in the public as peoples. However, this times she is very different from the compared to the first times. As you says, and he is very stone-faced. As the dark, as his posture is very to be arrogant and shaking his body. I think it's this wanted to show, and I have confidence to take initiative, take powers, grips on my hand. Never look at the another directions. Everyone look at me, only look at me, and he wanted to say to everyone.
Do you get a sense that he is gaining confidence as leader?
As leaders, right. He has, I think, is confidence to take powers after execution of his powerful uncles. Yeah.
And it's been 2 years now since Kim Jong-un took over power in the North. What kind of sense do we get now about what kind of leader he is?
Yes, we need some times to evaluate of his futures because of the most weakness of this Kim Jong-un, as he wanted to take initiatives in powers, but as in this period of his succession, he has not yet completed his unitary leadership. This is the very important to control of the North Korean. This unitary leadership is consists of the three kinds of the system. First is the organization systems. Second is this ideological system. The third is the mobilization system with the peoples. As with that system as the foundation of this system, he can only grips up the personnel powers as guidance powers and the reporting powers and some inspection powers. This is the unitary leadership too. I think it's the North Korean leader Kim Jong-un has legitimacy and has as a commander-in-chief. However, his absence without of this unitary leadership. As from now to years, he depends on the dysfunction to this Jang Sung-taek or some kinds of other elite groups. However, the absence of this sudden absence of Jang Sung-taek as how can keep his possibility, stability. I think is if we make us his unitary leadership from now, as I think is he is keep his stability. However, he failed as the organization, ideological and the mobilizations. I think is his resume is very unstable.
Jang Sung-taek's execution came just days before this ceremony. For that reason, a lot of people were watching the ceremony to find out who the second in charge may now become. You mentioned the name earlier, Che Ryong-hae. Looks to be that man. What do we know about Che as a person and as a leader?
Okay, so we look at the seat arrangement in the North Korea's power structures. As the most of the powerful people is the seat in the left wing. As the beside of the Kim Jong-un is the Che Ryong-hae, and is Lee Young-gil, and next is the Jang Jong-nam. This is the main power of the military sectors. And then is the continues the Kim Won-hong is the national security is the powers, and then is the Jo Yeon-jun is the department of the organization and the guidance is very important to function in North Korea parties. Afterwards, I think is this five people is very important roles to keep the North Korea's regime. I think is from now as the North Korea's the waiting of the powers in the move into the military and security areas.
The arrest and execution of Jang Sung-taek certainly surprised most of us. Did it surprise you?
Yes, I also surprised me.
What did you make of the situation when it first came out, the story?
I think it's the most important reason to execution of Jang Sung-taek is excessive concentration powers to Jang Sung-taek, as because of the North Korean leader Kim Jong-il is worried about the future of this young and experience of his son, as he prepares to as the veteran to support his powers, because he has no opportunity to prepare enough times to his unitary leadership. So he is the makers two figures. One is the Jang Sung-taek is as a veteran of the bloodlines, as another is the Lee Hong-ho as the military sectors. However, during the 2 years, the Kim Jong-un is to kick off the first is the two person. So because as Jang Sung-taek is competing with the military groups, especially is to take initiatives of the economic powers. As the Jang Sung-taek wanted to make us on monies attract the investment from the foreign countries, he makes us the special economic zones. So he needs some very moderate environment. He want to talk with the United States and he want to talk with the South Korea. However, the military sector is already have a foundation of the economic foundation. as with the exporting companies. So there's no need to moderate the environment. They wanted to make external tension and to make us coherence, internal coherence. So as this is the big difference and the interest difference, as they make compete with each other two sectors. And I think is the Jang Song-taek was as executive with some kind of the conspiracy of maybe as anti Jang Song-taek groups.
And the government or the regime, they're certainly making a statement by releasing the pictures of him being dragged out of the assembly and then shortly before the trial. I mean, that's quite a message that they're sending there, right?
Yes, it's a very important situation. I think this is very important to because of the influence of Jang Song-taek political powers in North Korea. Most of the North Korean people know news as who is Jang Song-taek. As he is the last 40 years, he sit in the number 2, as he is connected with so many peoples, especially North Korea's hierarchy groups. So, as North Korea's authorities need some kind of the legal procedure, as Jang Song-taek was accused of the anti-parties, anti-revolutions, and then after the 4 days, he is accused of some kinds of the treason. Some is overturned the state's conspiracy. I think this is very important. North Korea, this charge deserves to death penalties. And then the North Korea's authorities wanted to persuade as the peoples to Jang Song-taek deserves to die. As this is very important as propagandas.
To send a message to anybody else who might be thinking along the same lines.
Yes.
Watch out.
Yeah.
Right. Jang's connections extended beyond North Korea as well. He reportedly had pretty close ties with China. How do you see that situation affecting North Korea-China ties?
As China's officials said, this is internal affairs.
Right.
We keep this committed as bilateral relations very friendly and cooperative positions with the North Korea. However, China has shocking this because of Jang Song-taek is very important person to China because it's a very important channel to connect with the North Koreans, especially China wanted to promote of the economic cooperations with as Jang Song-taek is very important as agent to make a connection with the both countries. As the Jang Song-taek is, as I said, is the pursuit of this to attract of the foreign investment, and then this is the investment is very important. The partner is China. China is considers the Jang Song-taek as reformers. So China wanted to take a route into each experience of the offline the reforms. However, the fall of the Jang Song-taek, as this is China is very shocking, and afterwards, as China is the makers any kind of election, any kind of this to make us a relationship with the rearrangement as with the North Koreans.
Really, that has been yet to be answered is that where does Kim Jong-un, where does the regime in North Korea go from here after Jang Song-taek's ouster and then execution?
Yes, Kim Jong-un is pursued of the proclaimed his goals, the national goals, and one is the economic building, and another is the nuclear construction building is. So because of this is representative of his father's legacy. One is the Gangseong-daeguk as the prosperous nations, another is the Songun politics and the military first. And this is the very important for North Korea's leader Kim Jong-un because to complete has achieved his father's legacy. So I think there is no change for the time being. However, it's some kinds of conditions to be very free good well it's going. And then is next step will be to focus on the military sectors, and because of his main streams of the elite group is come from the military sectors. Okay.
And for that very reason, speculation about a provocation in the coming months is really rife right now. Defense Minister Kim Kwon-jin said as much, right? That between January and March, we could very well see a provocation from the north. What is your opinion on that?
It's possible because of we have experience of the North Korea's provocation activities because the North Koreans make provocative actions if they need some kind of make environment to internal coherent. They try to external tension. As I think it's the North Korea's military sector's first time as they try to negotiation with South Korea and the United States. However, South Korea and the United States already proclaimed of some if first as the North Korea sincerely of change about this nuclear activities, and then we can talk with again. However, as the North Koreans but have no intention to first actions. So early of the next years, they try to some kind of provocative action related with the nuclear activities and launch of the long-range missile and some kind of this provocative action with the South Korea and especially the focus in the NLL. We must prepare the very cautiously as to expand of this provocative action into some kind of the accident. So we need very cautiously.
There are, though, some that say the execution of Jang Song-taek is a first step toward a collapse of the North Korean regime. That's a pretty extreme statement. Do you agree with that at all?
It's half and half. Because of the importance is what is the importance from now. As the North Korean reader is there are two kinds of ways. As to strengthen his unity leadership, as so many kinds of the forge as the rest of the peoples, as the related with the Jang Song-taek, as another is to compete with the elite groups, especially the power of the balance is collapsed now, because as the design of his father's design to support system as the part-time militaries. However, as the two person is forged now, and then as just one groups, military groups can support now. So I'm very worried about this North Korea's power structures. I think I'm sure as the possibility of some kind of the coup or some kind of the sudden changes is the rate increasing now because of the instability of the Kim Jong-un as the powers Kim Jong-un's power is the very instability, and so it's very worried about this. But we should then look at this the change of the North Koreans.
And considering that growing uncertainty, there are a growing number of voices who are calling for a contingency plan between South Korea and the U.S. to prepare for a possible coup d'etat, revolution, mass defections across the border. Where do things stand right now between South Korea and the U.S. as far as it goes with a contingency plan for those things?
This is a contingency plan is very important to especially now. But since the 1990s and after death of the Kim Il-sung, and we in South Korea is raised some kind of possibility of the collapse of the North Korea, and the two our government is with the United States as should prepare to cancel with the weapons of mass destructions, like the kind of the nuclear weapons and some kind of the massive defection from North Korea. However, this conceptual plan has no details the military actions. However, now as there's the possibility of the North Korea's instabilities, and so two both countries as the prepares developing now the preparation of the operations plans as to include those details, the military actions. It's very important thing.
And again, considering the uncertainties, what do you think the South Korean government should be doing right now to make sure that they are prepared for anything that may occur from the north?
We should have many kinds of the scenarios as the change of the North Korea, because this is very biggest importance of fever in North Korea. After the execution of the Jangsung text, after the death of Kim Jong-il. So the leader of the North Korea is a very young and inexperienced person. As you know, that he is the stand on the very arrogant posture and the stone face. However, these attitudes cannot keep his powers. More important is some kinds of the real powers to control the countries. As now as the North Korea with the elite groups, its power is more and more increasing. As this is the two powers. There's just the leader of the Kim Jong-un powers and the elite powers will be competing with in the futures. So what happened in North Korea? So we prepare so many kinds of scenarios and prepare the sudden change of the North Korea as controls of the North Korea situations. This is to keep the peace in Korean peninsulas and the Northeast Asia. Thank you.
Dr. Lee, we appreciate you being here and providing some insight into the events we've seen over the past couple of weeks. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
And thank you, as always, for watching. We'll see you next time, After 10.